Hello everybody, Razorblade Mango here, and it's time. It's time to talk about the E3 conferences. I'm going to do these in chronological order, so this video is going to go up today. It's going to be EA, then it will be Microsoft, Bethesda, Ubisoft, and then Sony. I'm not going to talk about Nintendo. Really, the only thing I say about Nintendo is that I cannot fucking wait for Super Mario Odyssey. Like, that is probably my favorite game I saw at E3 this year. That and two others that I'll talk about in other videos. So let's dive into EA. Now, the way that I will structure these videos is that I will talk about the games first. I'll go through each game individually, give my impressions on those, and then I'll talk about the conference overall, like what I thought of it, like the pacing, how much cringe was there in it, embarrassing shit. So we'll get into that at the end, and maybe other miscellaneous stuff that they talked about. So let's start with EA. This year, my expectations for EA were very, very low, because last year's I thought was by far the worst one out of them all. It was boring garbage for an hour, and all it was just, hey, here's games you want us to talk about, but we're not going to talk about them, so fuck you. That was basically what last year's EA conference was. Now, this year, it was definitely a mixed bag, but I honestly gotta say, like, I liked a good portion of what I saw from this conference at EA in terms of games. So let's start with that, because there are other things that happened in this conference that I do want to talk about, that I think do really impact my thoughts on it overall. Let's start with, oh god, Madden NFL 18. It was some... Oh, I didn't know. I knew they weren't going to start off well when they brought out the fucking drum line with Madden. I was like, oh no, it's starting. It's already going to start with sports. Like, I have a joke every year where I just say EA's thing is just sports, 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 Star Wars, sports, 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 Battlefield, sports, 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 and like whatever else they got. Like, it's just sports. Like, it's dominated by sports. And starting off with sports is not getting a leg up with me. And it didn't help too that I thought everything from Madden looked really boring, and it has this new campaign mode, which, you know, I guess I gotta give them credit for putting in campaign modes in their sports games, but fuck, it looked bad. It looked like a fucking hilarious melodrama. Like an unintentionally funny movie. It looked ridiculous. I'm sure there's a big market out there for this kind of stuff, but this is so not my thing. So bad start for me. Bad. Did not like at all what I saw from Madden NFL 18. Will not touch that whatsoever. I have friends that I know that will play this, but I'm staying far away from that. Then they went on to Battlefield 1 in the Name of the Tsar DLC, which I thought was strange, them talking about this expansion in the show, because I figured they would talk about like the new Star Wars game coming out that isn't Battlefront 2 or something else, but for whatever reasons one of the slots that they put in was Battlefield 1 DLC. It's like, okay. It looked fun, I must admit. I liked the maps. I liked that you could ride on a horse with a spear and stab people with it. I thought that was cool. I have yet to buy Battlefield 1 because I'm waiting for the Ultimate Edition to go on sale when it's like below $40. Maybe like in the fall, or maybe even next year when all the DLC comes out. So there's that. I thought that looked cool, so that was definitely more appealing to me than fucking Madden. And then we go back to sports with FIFA 18, which was... it's sad, because out of all the sports stuff actually, like, out of all the sports stuff in the video game industry, the only thing that I really have any, like, minute interest in would be FIFA. But this was just atrocious, what they did with FIFA this year. It was fucking painful. Instead of showing, like, extensive gameplay of it, they had these two dudes come on stage who apparently run this FIFA YouTube channel or some shit, I don't know, speak this, like, utter gibberish and, like, long outstay their non-existent welcome. Like, I didn't want these two fuckers on the stage to begin with, but then they were on there for way longer than they should have. And then they made a big deal about how the protagonist from the last game's campaign, apparently all these famous football players know about it, and it's like, okay, they made a big deal of, like, the main character from the last FIFA campaign coming back in FIFA 18. Whoop-de-fucking-do. I don't give a fuck. I really don't care about whatever. I think his name was Alex Hunt or whatever the fuck his name was. I don't give a shit. That was the worst part of that conference. Like, easily that was the worst part. Oh god, I was so disappointed by what I saw from FIFA. And I watched it with Mario, who's been on the show before. He's a big FIFA fan. And even he was like, what the fuck is this shit? So then they, thank God, they moved away from that and they went to Need for Speed Payback, which looks fun. I haven't played a Need for Speed game in a long time, but any game that looks like latter-day Fast and the Furious movies, I'm perfectly fine with that. I will most likely play that like a couple months from now, or a couple months after it comes out. Wait for it to go on sale and then try it out. But the demo was way too short. That was disappointing. Like, whereas I thought FIFA went on for way too long, I thought Payback just was too short because it stopped like right when it was getting really, really good. It was like this really cool set piece where you were trying to drive after this, to steal this car from this big rig that's causing these explosions on the highway, and it was like, that was cool. And then the cops came in at the end, and then that's when they cut it. I was like, fuck. That would have been really awesome to see that, but it's like, they didn't, for whatever reason. Oh, right, because they wanted to have a live stream of it afterwards. Hooray. The next thing they moved on to, which for me was like probably one of the biggest surprises of the not just this conference but this year, was A Way Out. It's from the developers of Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, which is a game that is fucking fantastic, and it is this two-player, and it has to be played with two people, narrative-driven prison escape / crime game. And the whole game, even if you're playing like couch co-op or you're doing it like via online, it will always remain split screen. I don't know how that's going to work. I don't know if that's going to be distracting the whole way through, but I really fucking dig everything that I've seen from this game. Like, this game has like shot up among my anticipation list. Like, when I make my 2018 anticipatory games, this is going to be on there. I'm pretty fucking sure A Way Out will be somewhere on there in the top 10 and the top 15, whatever I decide to do, it will be there. And I loved how you have to like rely on your friend the whole way through, and it's not just this like bullshit like randomly generated prison escape. It's like a full story where it's these characters have their own voices and they talk in cutscenes, and it's like I've never seen anything like that before, and it's such a simple idea, but no one's really done it. And I love that this studio is just again trying to make another game where it's all about exploring the dynamicism and cooperation of two people, and you're actually playing with another person this time, which is great. Also, I loved the presenters' enthusiasm. Normally I roll my fucking eyes when I see a developer talk about like brag about their game as how kick-ass it is, how transformative it is. But from what I was seeing and how like passionately and confidently and joyously this guy was saying all this, it was charming and infectious. I was like, wow, this guy clearly gives a shit. And I have confidence in them because they did make Brothers, which is an excellent game. If you haven't played Brothers yet, I highly recommend it. So I hope this game lives up to this guy's really fucking bold claims, because I want this to be good. I want this to be good so bad. So I'm really looking forward to A Way Out. I cannot fucking wait for that game. Then they moved on to Anthem, and they didn't show much of it. It was only like this small little teaser trailer. And then they're like, oh, well, we're going to show the gameplay premiere during Microsoft's thing tomorrow. And I'm like, oh, okay. It's like, alright. I'll save my major thoughts on Anthem for the next video with Microsoft, but I guess I'll leave this with, I am not interested in Anthem. And I was even less interested once I saw it in action, or supposedly we've seen it in action, but I'll give my reasons for that tomorrow. Then they moved on, oh god, to NBA Live 18, which didn't care. It was the third fucking time they did one of these shitty sports showcases. Fuck that shit. Did not care. Thank God they saved one of the best things for last, which I was like, thank God. Star Wars Battlefront 2. Now, my only complaint about this segment is that they barely showed anything from the campaign. Like, barely. I was hoping they would do both campaign and multiplayer footage, but they were really banking on multiplayer. They flew out like 40 YouTubers to showcase the game, and they did like a big battle. It was like a big battle on Naboo, and I thought that was awesome. Like, I thought all the gameplay that I've seen from it looks really cool, and I'm very tempted to give this another chance. Like my dislike for the first Battlefront is very well known on this channel, but I was excited by what I was seeing from Battlefront 2. There was like droids, which I love. There was Darth Maul. There was these cool like ship fights going on. There was like cool heavy artillery coming in, the classes, the special troops, all that just looked awesome. And the big thing that I was happy to see is that all future maps, heroes, modes, and vehicles will be free. Now, I said at the time that I'm waiting for when the catch is. The catch is going to be that there's microtransactions. Now, I don't want to get into yet another fucking video about what I dislike about the microtransactions, but it's going to be tied into the star card system, which concerns me greatly, because if there are going to be burn cards, like star cards like there were in the last game, someone could just come in and buy all the microtransactions with the loot crates and the star cards and just crank them up and get like all these really powerful star cards in there. I don't know how EA is going to balance all that, but that's concerning. The how the microtransactions will influence the progression system and the economy and all that. I need to keep an eye on that. But I'm happy to see that all the extra DLC is going to be free. I'm happy to see that they're going to bring out, which they should have done in the first place for the first game. It's like, I was just stunned to hear like, oh, we're going to have 3 times as much content as the last game. And I'm like, that's not worth applauding, because that's not difficult to do considering how bare bones the last Battlefront was. It didn't even have a campaign. It had like 4 maps, and the rest of the modes were just like sectioned off bits of those, like the big map. It was ridiculous. It was one of the biggest scams I've seen from EA in a long time. And then they had the fucking like, oh, we got all these questions about there being a campaign, and we had, John Boyega was the guy that kind of kicked that all up. Nah, fuck that. I remember like a ton of people putting up, even before the game was even released, about why is there no campaign for this game? Why is there no, like, when it was first revealed, they were like, oh, why is there no campaign? Where the fuck is the story mode? And it's like when they posted all those tweets on the screen, it was like all these like well-worded, super polite tweets like, oh, you know, I really like the game, but, well, I really like a story mode. You know what it really would have been like if I had been posting those tweets from like selected ones? People going, where the fuck is the campaign mode? EA fucked up the franchise. EA fucked up Battlefront. That would have been the tweets that were up there. But EA just had to pick the nice kind of like, well, you know, people liked the game, but they want a campaign mode. So I was like, fuck, alright. And again, disappointed that they didn't show a lot of the campaign. They had the voice of the main character from the campaign, the actress who plays her, on stage announcing it, and yet they didn't have a lot of footage from the campaign. I just thought that was really confusing. So that I did not care for, but all the other multiplayer stuff I thought looked fine. I was really into it. Glad they closed the show with that. I'm glad it wasn't fucking Anthem or fucking FIFA 18. Or maybe A Way Out. A Way Out would have been a really good closer for the show. Something different, something really exciting that I don't normally think of when I think of EA. So yeah, that was EA's. Like it was only like an hour. I expected it to be longer. It was like an hour and a half with the Star Wars stuff, taking up the last like 45 minutes, 30 minutes. But truth be told, everyone's like really hating on EA's conference, but I didn't think it was terrible. I didn't think it was good, but I thought overall it was just meh. It was whatever. It was better than last year's conference. Much better than last year's. Total Biscuit was saying that last year's was better. I completely disagree with that. I was bored silly with the last one, but this one, it kept me like mostly engaged. I mean, you got like heavy hitters like Star Wars Battlefront 2 and A Way Out coming up there. I was like, yep, you got my attention. I was disappointed that they didn't show off more of Fee, like that weird little game from last year's E3 that they showed off. I wonder what's going on with that. Disappointed that they didn't show off Visceral's Star Wars game. That has me really nervous now that they haven't shown it for a year now. Like, we got like a small glimpse of it last year, but didn't see it at this conference, which was odd. I wonder if there's something going on behind the scenes, but we'll see. They didn't show off Respawn's Star Wars game, which I knew was silly to hope for, but Respawn is like after Titanfall 2, how much I fucking adore that game. The idea of a Respawn developed third-person Star Wars action game, I'm fucking excited. I'm like, I cannot wait for this. Like, I would rather take that over Visceral Star Wars game and Star Wars Battlefront 2. Just give me Respawn's Star Wars game, please. I'll be happy. That's if it's good, of course. Now, the thing that, to put it bluntly, really felt slimy to me about EA's conference is that they flew in all these YouTube influencers, and that's literally what they called them, which was really ugh. Is that they flew them out, and then they had like video footage of them like flying them to Stockholm or wherever DICE is and like playing Star Wars, and they're like, oh, we're gonna get feedback from these guys, and it's like, no, you didn't. You fucking flew them out just so you could talk about, you know, how, oh, you know, like these guys have played the game, and you know, they're saying it's great because they're YouTubers. Believe them, please. And just seeing all this like fake bullshit from the YouTubers, and like the fact that they like flew out all these people for the Star Wars thing, it was just, that was off-putting. Like, when I realized what they were doing, I was like, that like took it down to a whole new low for me. I was like, I was gonna be generous with this conference, but then I saw that, and it like, so much of that just like seeped through the whole thing. Just this like outsider YouTuber kind of odd mentality to it. It was just so corporate, just so cold-hearted to me, to take all these like YouTubers and then like take all these video clips from them playing Battlefront or Battlefield or whatever, and like having them sell the game rather than like bringing out footage. It was bizarre, and I hope they never do that again. I hope they just take a page from Nintendo and just shut the fuck up, or take a page from Ubisoft and just have the developers do this. Don't bring on YouTubers, don't bring these influencers, don't bring these people from like FIFA sports channels on YouTube and whatever. Just do, and don't bring that one guy that was like stuttering during the, I saw the video where he explained what happened, but you should not have done that to begin with. I felt sorry for the guy. I think Jesse Williams was his name. Yeah, I felt sorry for the guy from the story that he told as to what happened and why he was stammering during that moment. So yeah, that was EA. If I were to give it, like, I don't do like scale of 1 to 10. I do like letter grades. If I were to give a letter grade to EA for this, I'd say C+. I didn't think it was terrible. I didn't think it was good either. It was just very mixed bag, with like slightly more good than bad, like very slightly. Like I said, big improvement over last year's, definitely. Next time, I would rather they just not talk about sports at all. I don't want to see the sports stuff. Less sports, more Star Wars, because that fucking sports shit is boring. Don't give a fuck. So anyway, that's EA. Look forward to the next video, which is going to be Microsoft. See you guys later. Bye.